Hey there, everyone girly talks this side. Class 10 board exams can be kinda scary. Like, I remember being so stressed out, trying to juggle all the subjects and still have a life. But guess what? It doesn't have to be a total nightmare. The key is to be organized, consistent, and actually use effective study strategies. So, get ready to conquer those exams because in this video, I'm spilling all the tea on how to ace your Class 10 boards. Okay, first things first, you guys need a study schedule. I'm talking color-coded, perfectly planned, and totally Instagrammable. But seriously, having a schedule keeps you on track and makes sure you're not cramming everything the night before. Trust me, your sleep-deprived brain will thank you later. When creating your schedule, be realistic about how much time you can actually dedicate to each subject. Some subjects might need more love than others, and that's totally okay. Just make sure you're giving each subject enough time to, actually understand the material. And don't forget about breaks. I know it sounds counterproductive, but your brain needs time to chill and process all the information you're throwing at it. Plus, taking breaks will actually make you more focused when you do sit down to study. So, schedule in some time to watch your fave YouTubers, scroll through TikTok, or actually talk to another human being. Oh, and one more thing. Make sure you're scheduling in time for revision. I'm talking about going back over the material you've already learned so it actually sticks in your brain. Revision is key to avoiding those exam day freakouts where you're like, wait, what is photosynthesis again? Okay, so you've got your super cute study schedule, but now what? Well, before you even think about cracking open a textbook, you need to know what you're actually dealing with. I'm talking about getting all up in the syllabus and exam pattern. Think of the syllabus as your treasure map to exam success. It tells you exactly what topics you need to cover, so you're not wasting time on stuff that won't even be on the test. Imagine studying for hours on end only to find out that the entire chapter wasn't even part of the curriculum. Talk about a major bummer. Next up, you've got to understand the exam pattern. This is where you figure out what kinds of questions will be asked, how many marks each question is worth, and how much time you have to complete the whole shebang. Knowing this stuff beforehand will help you prioritize your studying and avoid any surprises on exam day. For example, if you know that short answer questions are worth more marks, you can spend more time practicing those. Or, if you know that the exam is heavily focused on a particular topic, you can make sure you're super prepared for that section. It's all about working smarter, not harder, people. Alright, so we've got the organization down, we know what we need to study, but now we need to talk about goals. And no, I'm not talking about those vague, I want to do well kind of goals. I'm talking about specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. You know, SMART goals. Start by breaking down your syllabus into smaller, more manageable chunks. Instead of saying, I'm going to study all of history this week, try setting a goal like, I'm going to finish chapters 1 to 3 by Wednesday. See the difference? It feels way less overwhelming and more doable. And here's a pro tip. Write your goals down somewhere you'll see them every day, like your study schedule or even a sticky note on your laptop. Seeing your goals constantly will keep you motivated and remind you of what you're working towards. Plus, there's something so satisfying about crossing off a goal you've accomplished. It's like a little pat on the back for all your hard work. But don't be afraid to adjust your goals along the way. Life happens, things come up, and sometimes you just need to take a break. If you find yourself constantly falling behind on your goals, don't beat yourself up about it. Just reevaluate your schedule, make some adjustments, and keep going. Remember, consistency is key. Okay, let's be real for a sec. Just reading through your textbooks a million times isn't going to cut it. You got to actually engage with the material and make it stick in your brain. So, let's ditch the rote learning and dive into some effective study techniques that actually work. First up, active learning is your new best friend. This means you're not just passively absorbing information, you're actively processing it and making it your own. Think summarizing chapters in your own words, questioning the material, and even teaching what you've learned to someone else. And speaking of making it your own, let's talk about notes. I'm not talking about copying down every single word from the textbook. That's just going to put you to sleep. Instead, focus on summarizing key points, highlighting important information, and using different colors or diagrams to make your notes visually appealing. Trust me, when your notes are cute, you're way more likely to actually want to study them. Another game changer is using mind maps. These are basically visual representations of information that help you connect different concepts and see the bigger picture. They're especially helpful for subjects like history or science where there are a lot of dates, names, and processes to remember. Okay, so you've been studying your butt off, you know the material inside and out, but now it's time to put your knowledge to the test. And no, I'm not talking about those little quizzes your teacher gives you in class. I'm talking about the real deal, practice papers, mock tests, and past year papers. First up, let's talk about past year papers. These are basically like peeking into the mind of your exam setter. They give you a good idea of the types of questions that are usually asked, the format of the exam, and the level of difficulty you can expect. Plus, it's a good way to identify any gaps in your knowledge or areas where you need to focus your studying. Next, we've got practice papers and mock tests. These are great for getting used to the time pressure of an actual exam. Set a timer for the allotted time and try to answer the questions as if you were actually taking the exam. This will help you build up your exam stamina and learn to pace yourself so you don't run out of time. And the best part about all this practice, you'll start noticing patterns in the types of questions that are asked and the way they're phrased. This will make you feel more confident and prepared when you finally sit down for the actual exam. Let's be real, we all have those subjects or topics that make us want to crawl under a rock and hide. Like for me, it was always math. But the key to conquering your weaknesses is to face them head on and not be afraid to ask for help. The first step is to identify your weak areas. This could be a specific subject, a particular topic, or even just a certain type of question that you struggle with. Once you know what you're dealing with, you can start to develop a plan of attack. If you're struggling with a particular concept, don't be afraid to ask your teacher for extra help. They're there to support you and want you to succeed. You can also reach out to classmates who might have a better understanding of the material. Sometimes all it takes is hearing something explained in a different way for it to finally click. And hey, there's no shame in seeking help online. There are tons of amazing resources available, from educational videos to online forums where you can connect with other students and ask for help. Okay, so we've talked about conquering your weaknesses, but now let's talk about finding balance between all the different subjects you're juggling. Because let's be real, studying for hours on end for one subject can get really boring really fast. One way to avoid burnout is to alternate between subjects throughout the day. Instead of dedicating an entire day to just math, try switching things up and studying a bit of history, then English, then maybe some science. This will help keep your brain engaged and prevent you from getting bogged down in one subject. Another tip is to create connections between different subjects whenever possible. For example, if you're studying history and you come across a scientific discovery that was made during that time period, take a few minutes to learn more about it. Or if you're reading a novel in English class, try to analyze the author's writing style and see if you can apply any of those techniques to your own writing. Remember, learning shouldn't be confined to separate boxes. The more connections you can make between different subjects, the better you'll understand the material, and the more likely you are to remember it. Okay, I know this might sound like a broken record at this point, but I'm gonna say it again. Taking care of yourself is crucial during exam season. And I'm not just talking about getting enough sleep, although that's definitely a big part of it. I'm talking about nourishing your body with healthy food, staying active, and managing your stress levels. First up, let's talk about food. You wouldn't expect a car to run on empty, would you? So why would you expect your brain to function properly without the right fuel? Make sure you're eating plenty of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. And don't forget to stay hydrated. Water is like brain juice, people. Next, let's talk about exercise. I know, the last thing you want to do when you're stressed about exams is to go for a run or hit the gym. But trust me on this one. Exercise is actually a great stress reliever and can help improve your focus and concentration. And lastly, let's talk about sleep. I know it's tempting to pull all-nighters cramming for exams, but trust me, it's not worth it. Your brain needs time to rest and process all the information you've been throwing at it. Okay, let's be real for a second. Exam season can be a roller coaster of emotions. One minute you're feeling confident and prepared, and the next minute you're convinced you're going to fail everything. But the key to staying sane during this time is to maintain a positive attitude and believe in yourself. Easier said than done, right? Well, here are a few things that might help. First, celebrate your accomplishments, no matter how small they may seem. Did you finally understand that tricky math concept? Treat yourself to a scoop of ice cream. Did you finish that entire history chapter? Reward yourself with an episode of your favorite show. Surround yourself with positive people who support your goals and believe in your abilities. And avoid those negative Nancys who are constantly complaining about how hard everything is. Like nobody needs that kind of energy in their life. And lastly, don't be afraid to take breaks when you need them. Whether it's going for a walk, listening to music, or just taking a few minutes to breathe deeply and clear your head, find what helps you relax and recharge. Okay, let's be real. We live in a digital age, so why not use technology to our advantage when it comes to studying? From educational apps to online resources, there are tons of ways to make studying more engaging and effective. First up, let's talk about educational apps. There are apps for literally everything these days, from flashcards and quizzes to interactive lessons and study planners. Find a few that work for you and incorporate them into your study routine. Next, let's talk about online resources. There are tons of websites and YouTube channels that offer free educational content, from Khan Academy to Crash Course. These can be super helpful for understanding difficult concepts or getting a different perspective on the material. And don't forget about online study groups. Connecting with other students can be a great way to stay motivated, ask questions, and get different perspectives on the material. Plus, it's a nice way to socialize and remind yourself that you're not alone in this. Just remember to use technology wisely. It's easy to get sucked into the black hole of social media or end up watching cat videos on YouTube instead of studying. Set time limits for yourself and avoid distractions by using website blockers or putting your phone on airplane mode. And there you have it, my loves. Those are my top tips for acing your Class 10 board exams. I know it seems like a lot to remember, but just take it one step at a time and remember to be kind to yourself. You got this. And seriously, once those exams are over, go treat yourself to something nice. You deserve it. Like, I'm not kidding. Go get that ice cream, binge watch that show you've been wanting to see, or just take a nap. You've earned it. And remember, no matter what happens, you're amazing and capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. So go out there and kill it.